Disclaimer: the podcast contains adult themes, adult dialogues, and spoilers. Our opinions are just that, opinions. We're not bashing any of the creators we discuss, and we are not bashing you if you perceive things differently than us. Listeners and viewer discretion is advised.
Hi everyone, welcome to this week's episode of Story and Things. We are a storytelling podcast. I'm your host, Yajaira.
And I'm your host, Cheli.
And we are going to be talking about Lore by Alexandra Bracken.
Yes. This was on Book Talk.
Was it?
Yeah, it was on Book Talk when Book Talk was a little fresh.
I
wanted to read this book, so I actually bought this book like a long time ago. And I only got it because they said that if you liked One Piece, you would like this book.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not hear that.
You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if I wrote the wrong book down.
You picked the wrong Lore.
That's what I heard.
And this book is a standalone. Thank God.
We're going to be talking about Lore and gosh, okay, I'm going to start with the summary because it's a long ass book. So
it's pretty thick.
If you want to add anything while I'm summarizing, just let me know. So the story circles around our main character, Lore, a 17-year-old survivor of the House of Perseus. She lives in a world where Greek gods are part of this killing game called Aegon. And the point of this is for 7 days, the Greek gods are mortal again, kind of. They still have some of their powers, but they are able to be killed. And whoever kills them inherits the power of that Greek god.
And the reason why Aegon is even a thing, a concept, is because it's a punishment from Zeus.
Yes.
Because there was a rebellion.
The story begins with Lore living in New York City, and she is in the middle of doing one of those boxing matches that are illegal because they are for money. And they're doing it in like the bottom of a Chinese restaurant. And she feels really bad because she knows that she doesn't want to be there because she had someone in her life named Gil, who I assume was kind of like a found family member.
Yeah, just like someone who was watching over her.
Yeah, he passed away and she feels really bad because he never wanted to see her fight. And here she is fighting for money and somewhat enjoying it because she's good at it. During her fights, she ends up fighting with this very tall guy who's very attractive. She does point that out, that he's attractive. I just wanted to mention.
Yeah.
And it ends up being someone she knew whose name is Castor. He's kind of shook because she knew that Aegon was going to start again soon, but she was hoping it would be somewhere else because it's always a different location. But it's here in New York, and she knows this because Castor says, I don't know what's going on, but you're in danger. So you got to get out of here.
But he also mentions that he needs her help.
But I'm out. and he leaves.
Yeah. No, but she's not interested at all.
But she also feels a connection with him. You can tell at this point that they've known each other. So she goes after him and does not catch up. And he leaves a message on a red Solo cup that says like, meet me, or let's play a game. Let's play hide and seek. It was like a reference like,
she'll
get me if you could. Yeah, she'll get it. It'd be funny. He's driving away. It's like totally not their inside joke. It's like, no, yeah, she's going to get that one. While she's here, she's just confused on why she saw Cass. She's already thinking, okay, Aegon's going to start here. I need to get out of here. She crashes into her roommate, Miles, who is just a normal human that she happens to live with in, by the way, the house that she inherited from Gil, who had just passed away. And she's like, you know what? I'll just let Miles know that I'm just going to leave for 7-10 days and just bum it out in like a forest and then come back later. And then while she's walking back to her house with Miles, she sees a half-dead Athena just on the outside in like the alleyway next to her house. And Miles is like, oh my God, we need to call the police. Hello?
Yeah.
Like, she's like, oh shit, okay, we need to do something because the trackers are going to be able to know that Athena's here. And so she tells Miles, who is really confused, to help her put Athena in the house. And Lore does this whole thing to spread Athena's scent. She spreads Athena's blood over like the walkways and stuff just to confuse people. And they basically heal up Athena. They clean her up. They give her food. And it's kind of funny. I actually really like this part because Athena's just kind of like, bacon? If I must. For sustenance, if I must. We learn that Athena is one of the original Greek gods that still participates in Aegon and actually knows Lore. Knows that Lore is a survivor of the House of Perseus and knows that the people who killed Lore's entire family happens to be Wrath. And Wrath is known as a god killer because he is not the original Wrath. Lore hates this guy and is like, I would like to kill him, but if I did kill him, that would make me a god, and I don't want to be that. So Athena's like, you know what? How about we have a deal? You help me survive Aegon, and I will kill Wrath for you. And it has to be a life pact, meaning that if we don't complete this, we both die.
Yeah,
right?
so they're binding their fates to each other.
Yes.
If one dies, the other one dies, pretty much.
And Lore is like, hell yeah, I'm down. Miles is listening, I think. He's not there. Definitely listening because he's also down. I don't remember what part he comes up in, but he's like, I heard everything.
And
yes. They're talking, and Athena brings up that there is an end to Aegon. It's written and inscribed on Medusa's shield, and it says how to end it, but no one knows where Medusa's shield is. The point of the story is to get Medusa's shield to destroy Wrath and hopefully find the end of Aegon, but they can't do that right now because Athena is wounded and she's in a mortal body, so they need to find someone who can heal her. Lucky for Lore, remember, she crashed into Castor, who is a healer. So it's like, bitch, I'll be right back. You're gonna be fine, good as new. So she goes over, turns out he said, ooh, hide and seek. It was somewhere where they used to play hide and seek, whatever the fuck. She's looking for Castor, and she sees a bunch of people gathering like, okay, we're about to have a little party for our god Apollo. Go ahead and come in, Apollo. And it's Castor coming in. And he's like, I actually like to go by Castor, my human name, you know? But it shakes Lore because it's like she knew Castor as his mortal self, which was a sickly kid, and here he is freaking like 10 feet tall. No, he's probably like 6 feet. And he is healthy. He looks like the best version of himself is how it's described. And apparently he killed Apollo. That's how he became God. And she doesn't understand it, but she goes up to him because she sees this act that he puts up of having to act like a god. Yeah. And she kind of hates it too because they do old traditions like, okay, we got you a bunch of little girls to sing for you. You want to keep one for later. That's chill. And Castor's like, that's not chill. Let them get an education. That's so old. Lore sneaks into Castor's bedroom where he's just kind of having a moment, like looking at his old dog. And it's funny because he's a god and the dog doesn't recognize him because the dog only recognizes mortals. And he's just looking at his dog like, fucking recognize me, bitch.
We've been through so much together.
Yeah. And Lore is just watching this. But then someone tries to kill Castor while he's in the room.
Like they try to betray him.
And Castor does nothing. Just kind of stands there like, oh, what's going on? And Lore is the one who has to protect Castor. And it's like, what are you doing? You need to get moving. You're like getting attacked. Turns out that Artemis is here trying to kill Castor. They get away, but Artemis is hella mad because, I mean, Artemis and Apollo, they're brother and sister. You need to realize too that Athena is still the original god and would hella be mad at Castor too for killing Apollo. But Lore's like, it's gonna be fine. Yeah. I will talk to her. It's gonna be good, but it's not good. Come to an understanding that they all want the same thing, to survive Aegon, to figure out how to end it, and to get rid of Wrath. So this is their shared goal. This is what they're going to work towards, but they need to know how to find Medusa's shield, which the only person who knows where Medusa's shield is probably Wrath because he's looking for it too. So we are introduced to another character who has been introduced. His name is Vaughn, and he is Castor's right-hand guy and his messenger. So he's kind of like a techie guy. He's like, okay, this is what we got to do. This is our game plan. We're going to go in, we're going to go out, you know, and he's just in charge of everything. And then we have Miles, the human, who's like, all of you are gods and don't know New York like I do. So I got to
he's
the
like,
ins and
I'm
outs.
super useful.
I know, I'm super useful. I don't know why he's so down, but you know what? We'll get into that later. But they go on this hunt. There's a lot of fights, different fights. There are fights where Miles gets very wounded. There are fights where Lore gets very wounded, but she still continues to go. And there's one specific fight where Artemis comes back and shoots Castor in the heart. Hi, this is Cheli editing the video, wanting to say that it wasn't Artemis that shot Cass. It was someone else who I will mention later. Thank you. And, you know, he is mortal for the date he is mortal for the days of Aegon, but for some reason can't die. And no one understands why that's the reason. It upsets Lore a lot because it feels like he's not really trying to stop Aegon. He's not even trying to help him find Medusa's shield or kill Wrath. So it's like, you know what? Fuck you, Castor. And she leaves with Athena, which regrets instantly because it turns out Athena doesn't even care about this whole pact or anything. She just wants the shield. And she feels like Lore knows where it is. And the only reason she feels like that is because Hermes a long time ago felt like that. Because Hermes had disguised himself as an old guy who was Gil to look after Lore, who would hopefully one day tell Gil where the shield was. So left and right, Lore is being betrayed by everyone that she loves and trusted. And she's just like, you know what? I have to end this. She has a memory of where she left the shield. She had lied to everyone and never told anyone that she had hidden the shield long ago after the main guy who I can't remember his name. The guy who had the shield. Yeah, no. There was a guy who had the shield who disrespected her dad. After he disrespected her dad, she was like, fuck you. I'm gonna steal the shield. I'm gonna put it in a plastic bag and I'm gonna throw it in a freaking sewer drain. I think that's what she did. And she goes back for the shield. She hits it because it is Medusa's face. And it makes a scream to kind of notify all the Greek gods that the shield is out. And it's more to notify Athena and Wrath. She is ready to fight. She is going to kill Wrath. I don't think she wants to kill him, but is ready to end it. Her and Cass make up whatever. They're going to the last fight. Castor stays behind fighting other people, kind of gets left behind. So it's just really Lore going to where Athena and Wrath are, who now have an alliance. Lore is just kind of like, you know, Athena, I thought better of you because you love your dad. I know you love him. I know you and Z, you and him.
You and Z.
Yeah, but you're over here justifying that the end of war should be killing everyone. And you know that sacrifices aren't supposed to be innocent people. Sacrifices are supposed to be something different than that. And she's a little swayed by it. Yeah. She's like, oh, I kind of agree with you, but I'm also with Wrath, so I can't say anything. But then Wrath kind of mixes his words and he's like, oh yeah, when I have the shield, I'm going to be powerful and it's going to be for me. And then Athena's like, bitch, didn't we just life pact? Like, hello? And
I like that you just glossed over the twist.
What's the twist?
She's already with Wrath? Why is she with Wrath?
Did I miss something?
About Athena?
Yeah. What did I miss?
That she killed her family.
Oh, yeah. Backtrack, by the way. Just to mention, to hate Athena even more, Lore figured out through Tidebringer, which is Poseidon.
Tidebringer saw Athena and Lore together and he was like, why the hell are you with Athena? I think Lore just says, oh, because we made a pact. What are you talking about? Yeah. And Tidebringer's like, after what she did to you?
Which is revealed that she brutally killed her entire family.
Yeah. So it was never Wrath. It was Athena.
Yeah, it was Athena. So, you know, Lore is showing up to this fight with a lot of anger, ready to kill Athena and Wrath, but realizes that there's still a shred of hope for Athena. Tries to convince her to go against Wrath, and they do go against each other. There is a point where Lore is about to kill Wrath, and she can, but she chooses not to because she doesn't want to become a god. So Athena finishes it for her, and Athena's already dying. But this whole ending of Aegon, Athena believes that Lore knows how to do it. So in her last moments, Athena makes Lore kill her. So now Lore has god powers. Mm-hmm. And she doesn't want them.
No, not at all.
Yeah. This story ends with not really knowing how Aegon ends, and her and Cass plus Miles and Van sitting on a rooftop, and they're just kind of like, okay, last day of Aegon and we're gonna become gods forever. I fucking hate this. But you know, Cass and Lore are with each other romantically, by the way. Oops. At the very last moment, Lore is praying that something will happen that will end Aegon. She wants Zeus to not make it go on anymore. And in the last moments, when it's midnight, suddenly it's midnight 01 and she's still there as a human.
Because she feels Castor's heartbeat.
Yeah.
And gods don't have heartbeats.
Thank you for showing up to my speed run of explaining Lore.
It was a really thick book, so...
It is really thick. It's heavy. I dropped it on my foot the other day and I almost died. So just want to tell you, I am a survivor.
Maybe that was like karma or something. I don't know.
Oh my gosh. First impression.
I'm going to be honest. This book was so forgettable. Mm-hmm. half of the details that you told me, I did not remember.
Half of the details I said, I did not remember.
When I finished the book, the only thing that really stood out to me was the beginning. Her moment with Castor, her moment with Athena when it was revealed, and then the end. Just because it was kind of like unexpected. That was it. I didn't like the book.
Thank you. We finally, no fights. We should have like a
like a tally.
chalkboard. Yeah, like 0 days without fights. You know, and then we change
don't
it every
have
single
fights.
day.
It's just disagreements.
Okay. I wanted to read this book a long time ago. Even before we talked about having a podcast together, I bought this book and have had it because I heard that if you like One Piece, which is my favorite anime, you'll like this book. This book is nothing like One Piece. This book has nothing to do with, well, I guess it has to do with an adventure of wanting to achieve one thing, but that is not this book.
Oh no.
And I went in expecting,
Hopeful.
hopeful. And like, even I was still down when, like, you know, Athena shows up, Miles is in it, Castor's doing this. And then all of a sudden, this book just started to feel like, let's go do this and let's go do that and let's go do this. And now we're doing that.
And it was
I'm
very
like,
repetitive.
It was very repetitive because it was like, we fight, we
fight next guy.
yeah,
Fight,
and then
next guy.
no really standout fights either.
No.
I don't remember any of them. I just know there were, and I skipped hella fights. We didn't even talk about the girl she grew up with. Hi, this is Editing Cheli. We did talk about the girl she grew up with.
Just doesn't even matter.
Yeah, it does. It doesn't because
You mean the one that betrays her?
Yeah. Well, like whatever.
Okay.
And the one she was the one who shot Castor in the heart. It wasn't Artemis. Editing Cheli here. I'm so sorry. It took all my brain cells to figure out that she was the one who shot Cass and not Artemis. Thank you.
Oh, she did? Okay.
Yeah.
See, I didn't even remember
it
that.
doesn't even matter. I could have told you that a stranger killed Castor, and it still would have been the same.
Miles.
It was Miles who killed Castor, and then he felt really bad about it. It was kind of embarrassing.
But you know what? She forgave
It
him.
made dinner really awkward.
Well, I mean, didn't she forgive her friend who betrayed her?
Yeah,
So it's
because
like, whatever. Who
it's like
cares?
it didn't happen. Okay. Anyway, I did not like this book. And by halfway, I was like, I just need to finish it. And it's not that I was hating every second reading it. It was more like, I really hope there's some redeeming quality in here that'll make me like this book. I talked about it with my friend, our friend who we're having curry with on Christmas.
Yeah.
I talked about it with her and I told her, I don't think I hate it, but I know for a fact I don't like this book. There's just something about it, and I don't think you feel the same way, but there's just something about it that makes me just want to make other people read this so they can explain how I feel. That's how I feel about this book. I'm making my sister read this for me.
Really?
Yeah, because I just want to know how she feels. But the thing that made me hate this book was the very last page.
I knew it.
I hated it.
Why? Walk me through your feelings. Why did you hate that last page?
Because I know enough about Greek mythology, and you know I know about Greek mythology.
Yeah. I mean, I used to be really into it too, but...
Yeah. I'm not that into it, but whatever. But I know enough about Greek mythology to know that Zeus is not that forgiving. That's what got me.
And I feel like, I mean, a lot of the characters didn't really portray how they're like stereotypically known, especially like Athena. Like,
And
you know?
yeah.
So the fact that the author, not coming for you, but the fact that the author decided to choose Zeus to be this like neutral type of character is so weird because in most cases, it's like Zeus is the most evil, most hated.
And you know what I kind of hate too? Oh my gosh, I forgot this was... Wait. Wine and read edition.
Oh, it is? We
didn't
decided?
mention. Yeah, didn't we say that earlier?
Oh, this is a wine and read.
Wine and read. I'm ready to wine because I didn't write any likes. I just have all these feelings about this book. So, like you were saying, what were you talking about? I already forgot.
That the characterization of the Greek gods were altered, which is fine. Like, I didn't mind that, but just the fact that Zeus is, you know?
You know what was a missed opportunity too?
What?
I really like Athena.
Same.
I like learning about her. I like everything about her. I also liked how in this book, and this isn't a like, it's going to be a dislike, so just stay on board. I really liked how they called her gray eyes because their eyes as gods are actually like golden colored. But the reason they call her Gray Eyes is because she's the god of wisdom, but she's seen so much suffering in her whole life that her eyes have become gray because of all that she's seen. Which was not portrayed with the type of character she was.
Yeah.
Maybe at the end, but when she was with them, she was just
like, whatever.
Yeah. But how did you feel when her and Athena were sitting on the rooftop and Lore was telling Athena, you always pick men to work with you, or you always like men want to be you? Was that what she was saying? And you'll never understand what it's like, you know, to be a woman who wants to be in power. You even sided with the guy who raped Medusa. Oh, no, was it Medusa that was raped?
Yeah. Well, there was a lot of characters, but yeah,
I think it was Medusa that they were talking about. But instead of helping her, you made her head into snakes.
Yeah.
And how dare you do that? And then Athena goes back like, well, I did that so that no one would ever look at her again and she would never have to deal with that suffering. So, bitch, checkmate. Yeah, that's how it felt like.
But like,
I didn't like that
you're
scene.
still punishing Medusa.
Yeah, I didn't like that scene.
I didn't like that
there
scene
were
either.
a lot of scenes in this book that felt like fake feminism. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
There was that, and then there was the, oh my gosh, little girls that dance, give them an education. And it was like, yes, Castor, you get it. And it's like, no.
You can't do that.
It's deeper than that.
Well, connecting to that, it's weird that this story is set in modern times, but it's filled with so much misogyny.
Dude.
That it's so, like, it's, like, too much.
Dude, when during chicken curry night, which is coming up soon, you and our friend are on the same wavelength. She literally said the same thing as you.
Really?
There's so much misogyny in this book, but they're trying to frame it as, like, female empowerment.
Yeah. It almost reminds me of, this is going to be a tangent. Stay with me.
Yeah.
It almost reminds me of when Game of Thrones was really big and popular. Do you remember that there was like an article and people were furious because Sansa's character was portrayed as this like strong character because she was raped? It's almost like you wouldn't have been this strong character if you weren't raped.
What?
Like, she even had a moment in the show where they would call her Little Bird. Like, somebody would call her Little Bird, and it's like, oh, you're not a little bird anymore. You're, like, this strong character now.
What?
Yeah, there was, like, this whole article about it, and it just makes me so uncomfortable. Because it's not necessarily something that I immediately see, you know, like, oh, you know, because so many characters go through traumas. I mean, that one's really bad, but so many characters go through traumas and, you know, they overcome it. But it does say a lot when you use that as like the reason as why your character became stronger.
Yes.
It's like weird.
Yes.
And it, you know, I felt the same way about a lot of characters in this book.
That was kind of lore too. And it sucks too. Okay, here's another thing. And let me know if I'm wrong or if I'm explaining myself incorrectly. But Lore went through a lot of traumatic events in her life. She went through, I mean, the death of her family, and it was a gruesome death.
Yeah.
And she went through
Wrath trying to marry her at 11.
Yeah, Wrath trying to marry her, and then her at that training facility where everyone treated her like crap because they came from the House of Perseus. She dealt with all this stuff. You would think being raised by the family she was raised with that was just filled with so much patience for the world around her that she would be a little more patient with the way things were. She was hella quick to judge people, hella quick to tell them off.
Hella quick to like...
She dropped Castor
I was gonna
so
say that.
quick. And I'm like, you grew up with that boy.
You've known him for how long and you're gonna just leave him?
Castor kind of deserved better.
I agree. Because I actually, not saying that I loved his character, but I liked his character more than Laura's character.
I really liked him. I actually really liked him. I really liked the scene when they first kiss. And Castor's like, he pulls away and he's like, next time we kiss, like that, A+. That was a really good experience. I really like that thing you did there. Yes. But don't. I know. You know what? This is like an 8 out of 10, but I understand we were in a stressful situation. So I'll give you an extra point for that. But don't do it to distract me next time. And then he runs away. I thought that was a very good thing.
Yeah, that was cute.
I don't know.
I did like that part. That was cute.
Yeah.
But I didn't like that she did it to distract him.
I hated
I was
that
like, this is a really bad first kiss.
Yeah, it is a really bad first kiss. But yeah, there was a lot of scenes too that felt very unnecessary. And I talked about this with our friend. She agreed with me that so many flashbacks could have not been in this book and it would not have made a difference. Mm-hmm. And even like, I don't know, like the character that she grew up with, because there was a character that she moved in with after her family died. Mm-hmm. That was still part of like the whole Aegon and the cycle and everything. That character felt like they only existed in order to have a reason of like, oh, and this is where Lore went next. Wasn't her own character. They could have replaced, you know, a freaking caster flashback with that, at least to make her character big. They could have just not written her in the story. They could have done a lot of things, but trying to fit this into one book feels like it was too much. It could have been a duology.
Oh God, no. I'm good.
It probably would have been a little better as a duology though, because they could have at least expanded.
Maybe they just wanted to have so much information that it was just like info dumping.
To put so much, because they even in the book, I don't know if you've seen what it looks like, they included a map and then they included like the name of the houses and which ones have survived and which ones have fallen.
Yeah, I saw that.
And then at the end of the book, they include like the ones who have died and everything like that. The fact that you have to include that much for a one book thing, it's like you have to make your world smaller, my guy.
Yeah.
Like you don't have enough time to talk about this.
No, I agree. But I also wanted to touch on the flashbacks because I don't mind flashbacks.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think that they serve a purpose. But you know what really annoyed me is that when I would get really into what was happening in that chapter, and then we'd go back in time in the next chapter because it would end in
all chapters ended a cliffhanger.
And in cliffhangers, exactly. And then it would just make me so mad because it didn't make me want to keep reading because I almost wanted to skip the flashback. And to be honest, I kind of skimmed a little. So
did you?
The flashbacks? Yeah, kind of.
I hated that too because the chapters would always end like, and then we were off. Or, and I couldn't believe my eyes. And then Castor fell. And it was like, why are you going to give me a flashback?
This is a really bad timing.
Yeah, it is.
I just kind of wish it was structured differently.
I agree with that. I don't know. My favorite flashback. Favorite flashback was the one where, oh God, I said my favorite. I completely forgot what it was about.
It just left your mind.
It was when they were like, oh, I heard you're going to get married off to Wrath.
Oh.
And then he was like, I'll give him the old one too.
He's like, Wrath? Who?
I wish.
I mean, I also like the scenes with her sisters.
I did too.
That was cute.
Oh my God. They all had cute names.
Thank you. Olympia.
But
to be honest,
doesn't matter to me.
Didn't really care.
And it didn't
really care.
It's funny because when I was reading and it got up to like Athena explaining like, oh yeah, gruesome. When I got up to the part where like, oh yeah, I made your sister's watch by like pulling their eyes out and like facing it towards. Yeah. And it was funny because I was reading and I was like, I forgot for a second. I was like, she had fucking sisters? Like, who didn't tell me?
You literally forgot.
Because they didn't, like, even though the sisters were in it, they were very, like, what's the word? They
weren't developed enough?
Yeah, they were very flat characters.
Oh,
there was nothing.
You mean all
to
the
them.
characters?
All of them. Okay. I feel like Castor was written a little better than Lore was. And Vaughn and Miles.
Oh, yeah. I agree.
Cute.
They were cute.
I thought it was really cute. I think that it was written better than the main ship of Lore and Cass because
it's always sad when that happens.
Yeah, but do you remember that scene where Cass was just looking at Miles?
Wait, Cass was looking at him?
No, sorry. Vaughn was looking at him, and Lore goes up to Vaughn and is like, you can have whatever you want. Like if you want that, then you can have it. And then he's like, no, I can't. That fucking got me. Yeah. That's the only part that got me, by the way. Yeah. Spoiler alert.
No, I did really like their relationship together.
Yeah.
But that's about it.
Yeah, literally. That makes me so sad because I feel like this book could have been so good. But it sucked.
Damn I'm so blunt.
I didn't like
sucked.
it. I get it now. To my friend who's probably going to watch this because she wanted to hear us talk about lore so bad.
Really? Wait, did she finish?
She finished it the other day. It was funny because she called me on Monday to give a reference in time. Today's Friday. She called me on Monday and she's like, I'm starting lore. I'm gonna start it. And she loves Greek mythology.
Yeah.
Always into it. And she was like, it's so good. Oh my God. So great. No, that's how she was the first day because she was starting it. And then the third day she was like, I'm reading it. I'm reading it. And then she called me, I think yesterday, and she was like, I finished it.
She's been through it all.
She also agreed with you that like just so much fake feminism, trying to paint it as like empowerment. It's like not really. Yeah. And I told her, and we both agreed too, I really like found family, but I wish they could have done it better.
Yeah, it didn't hit.
It didn't hit. The only one that hit was Vaughn and Miles. And I liked Castor a lot. But Lore felt like a not developed enough character to make her as complex as they wanted her to be.
So a lot of the characters felt flat to me.
Yes.
And Wrath felt really flat to me too. Mm-hmm. And I just felt like a lot of the things that he just did just so that it would make him look like a stereotypical villain. Yes. But I didn't really understand motives, you know? Like, he's just doing this so that he's a villain.
There's a lot of books that do that too, where they make their villain just evil so you can only hate them. Mm-hmm. There's no like motive. So there's no like redeemable qualities or you going like, oh yeah, I kind of get it. Which is why, I'm sorry I'm bringing up this book. We already talked about it. Which is why I like The Darkling, because he has his motive. Mm-hmm. Like he had a reason he wanted to do what he did. Yeah. So it's like they really messed up with this. They could have made Wrath better. Mm-hmm. I like the idea that this book was going for, though.
No, yeah, I agree. I mean, like I said, the beginning was good. I was all for this idea of this happening every 7 years. Mm-hmm.
God, but that fucking ending.
That ending, bro.
Zeus would never.
You know, if they wanted to do this type of ending where, you know, you're just pardoned, whatever, maybe they should have developed Zeus more.
Yeah, because he was never in the story. And we know what type of person Zeus is. I know him. I've met him.
I've met him too.
Yeah, I've met him. Kind of a jerk. He like totally just cut in front of me like when we were at the grocery store. It sucks. Anyway, apparently before Lore, this author was a one New York Times bestselling author for the Darkest Minds series, which I know is a 5-book series.
I've never heard of it.
I heard that it did pretty well. I do know a little bit about it. You want me to read you the summary?
Yeah.
The Darkest Minds takes place in a dystopian future America that's fallen into chaos after a deadly disease kills a majority of the country's children. As the surviving children develop special abilities, the government begins to hunt them and place them in camps. Hello, Shatter Me?
Hello? I was thinking that. Why are we always in the same wavelength?
Dude, oh my God. I literally was thinking that. Oh my God.
We gotta turn this off now.
I know.
We're having a moment.
Oh my God. Who wrote it first? Wait. Who wrote it first? I'll look up this one. The Darkest Minds release date. Okay, tell me when
2011.
Oh, wait. I need to look up the book. Because there's a movie, apparently.
Okay, cool.
Good for her. Dude, know me to be that person, but 2012.
Oof.
Oh, Alexandra. Alexandra. We're catching a little bit of a trend here.
Stop.
No, I'm just kidding. I get
that sounds. I mean, to be fair, that is a common trope.
Yeah. Oh no, but the reason I was bringing that up is that this was probably because I knew that she wrote a series before this. Mm-hmm. It was very ambitious of her trying to fit this in one book, which is just the point I was trying to make.
Maybe she just really, like, her goal was a standalone book. Maybe, I want to say maybe it should have been longer, but to be honest,
you could.
I don't think I could do it longer.
Do you think, as of now, like where you're at right now in your life, just like right here in general, right here. Uh-huh. Can you write a one book based on anything you've ever written? Anything? can it fit in one book? It's kind of hard.
It's hard. Yeah. Because I also write fantasy, so it's hard to build a world in one book.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it.
It's going to be one, but it's going to be like as big as the Bible.
Oh, it's like those old dictionaries.
Oh my, the encyclopedia.
Yeah, where like the end is bent, so even when you like open it, it's like 2 books. Gosh.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my god, there was something else that I was gonna say. Oh, it's gonna bug me.
I can't believe Wrath just literally killed his son.
I know, and then the blood.
Yeah,
That
what did
was
he do again?
He like
got in,
licked it, right?
his son. Yeah, he licked it.
It was weird.
Just to show how little he cared about that boy.
He's so evil.
God.
God.
Wait.
Wait, should we write a Wrath man?
Wrath and I. The Wrath and I. It's the second Bridgerton book.
But it's better.
It's exactly Bridgerton and the Duke and I, except it's with Wrath. Thank you. And he still has the same motive.
Which is no motive.
Oh my gosh, I feel bad for roasting this book because we're not drunk.
I know.
Should I have wine?
It's a little late for that.
A little late. Should we pause and then come back really drunk?
We're gonna take an intermission and we're gonna get fucked up.
Dude, I know that we've been doing this podcast for like a couple of episodes already. We're how deep are we?
We're deep.
We're like 20 deep, aren't we?
Like, no, almost.
We're almost to 20.
19.
19 deep? I feel really bad about this one.
Oh.
Because like we were very cautious our first episode.
We were so cautious.
But now I can say that I genuinely hated the Duke and I.
Oh,
I can say it. I can say it, and I'm not
We didn't
scared.
even start with that one, though. That's how much we hated it.
Yeah, it felt like, well, it was the first one we ever filmed, but not our first episode.
Yeah, we scrapped it.
Yes, because we hated it so much.
I think it got corrupted, though, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. Well, I mean, it was our first time, and it was just a cursed episode.
We had to do it like 3 times because it was not working.
We kept messing it up. I did not feel bad for what I said about the Duke and I. I kind of wanted to go harder, but you kept telling me, you know what, maybe leave Julia Quinn alone. She might come for us.
She might sue us.
Because, like, a lot of other...
She's got money now.
I know she does. I know. I'm sorry, Julia. I'm not sorry. I mean, if you're a writer, you're going to get criticism. And I mean, I always say people's names just to make it funny. Just like, come on, Julia. Pick up the slack, Julia.
Come on, Lexi.
Yeah, exactly. But
it makes it kind of cuter, though. It's like we know them.
Yeah. I mean, I do know Julia. I know. God, fucking damn it. They're going off again. But it felt like everyone liked the Duke and I wanted to show them that it
the
sucks.
other side.
Yeah. But with this book, I kind of just want someone else to read it to see it.
I don't necessarily share that mindset, but I kind of agree that I kind of want somebody close to me to read it just so that I want to know if they would understand what is happening.
During our chicken curry night, we'll talk about it.
This is our book club.
This is our book club. Oh my god.
Cute.
Story and things after hours. That's
our
what we'll call it.
Patreon.
I know. I hate it.
I do really like this book cover, but I kind of wish that Medusa played a bigger role.
She didn't.
I almost thought that Medusa was going to be like the Athena. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which would have kind of made more sense because she would have had a bigger reason to be morally gray.
Yeah. Damn.
But Athena was just...
She was a lot. I would have liked that too if Medusa was a bigger character. Her head was there though, so that's what matters most.
And her shield.
Her shield. That was her head.
Oh, yeah.
She was stuck on the shield.
Yeah.
What a place to be. What a place to be. Gosh. Miles not giving a fuck at all. I don't get that. I'm a human. I'm not going to go out there, risk my life, talk to a freaking Greek god.
No, thank you.
But he's just like...
Greek god. No, thank you.
But he's just kind of like, you know what? It's Tuesday. My shift doesn't start until 6 p.m. I'm kind of down. I'll just call in sick. I'm the manager. I'll just call in sick. It's like, Miles, go fucking like do something. And I loved Miles, by the way.
I like Miles too.
Didn't make sense.
Love, but you know.
I loved him.
What would you rate it? Oh, wait, we're done.
Wait.
Are we done?
Yes, let me say my thing and then I'll rate it. Just kidding. It's me editing again. We totally forgot to rate it. Yajaira's at work right now, but she did send me a voice note, so let me play it for you.
I hope this doesn't come off as too mean, but I have to be honest, and say that Lore was probably one of my biggest disappointment reads of 2021. I just expected more out of a book that was inspired by Greek mythology, but all of the characters felt so flat. I didn't really connect to any of their motivations. I didn't even think that they really believed in their own motivations. And as I said before, the book felt really long. And I do agree with Cheli that it should have been a duology, because there's just so much information that was packed in this one book that it made it really overwhelming and just difficult to follow along with. Because as I said before, there were so many things that did happen in the book, but were easily forgettable. And because of that, I have to give this book a 1.
And to piggyback off of that, I also give it a 1. I wouldn't call it the worst read of 2021. I mean, The Duke and I was part of that, but that's just me. But the fact that, I mean, I liked Cass a lot more than I like Lore, and Lore is the main character. She's supposed to be likable and relatable. She is more human than all of the gods there, yet I hated her the most. So a 1 out of 5. I'm so sorry, Lexi. I'm so sorry to do this to you. So thank you for those of you who are listening. This feels like a sad episode.
Yeah, we need
to hype it up. Thank you for listening. Oh my gosh, such a fun time here talking about Lore. Thank you for those of you who are listening on Apple Music, Spotify, Amazon Music, or anywhere you listen to podcasts. If you want to leave a review for us, that usually helps with views. If you want to talk to us about how you feel about this, because, you know, I'm feeling a lot of emotions right now, or lack thereof. I'm very detached right now. If you want to just like ask us if we're okay after reading this, go ahead and ask us that. Tell everyone you know about us, because word of mouth is how people get most well known. Maybe make them read this too, just so we're not the only ones.
Yeah, just confused. So they understand.
Yeah,
what's going through our minds.
Thank you.
But this is not the darkest minds. Thank you.
Wow. Oh my God, you really did that. Took my joke out of my mouth. If you are watching on YouTube, please hit that notification bell. That really helps with analytics, apparently. Leave a comment and subscribe. Thank you so much. We are going to go ahead and read a review. The review is going to be based off of our dice roll. And this review, we have no connection to it. Whatever it says, we are not going to mention anything. We're just going to read it. If we roll even, it is a positive review. If we roll an odd, it is a negative review. And our number is... It's a 1. It did hit the book, but I do kind of want to read a negative review. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so this comes from Goodreads. It's from Samantha.
Thank you, Samantha.
Thank you, Samantha. They rated it a 1 out of 5 stars. They said, trigger warning, rape, pedophilia, gore, cancer. They write, I wanted to enjoy this, I really did, but once I got to the end, I realized that I hated most of this experience. This had so much potential and it ended up being so flat. The world is supposed to be modern day, but you wouldn't know it by how characters act and how incredibly misogynistic the hunter society is. Sure, they are more of an insular culture, but you can't honestly have me believe that they are living in New York City and totally cut off from modern society and norms. Then I just didn't buy most of the character dynamics and relationships. These people are supposed to be close, and I just don't see it outside of maybe Lauren Castor and Lauren Miles. But other friendships Laura supposedly had fell so flat and unbelievable, without any substance, and any conflict between good characters just get resolved. One of them tries to literally kill another one, and it's forgotten a few chapters later. You know what else is flat? The villains. They are some of the worst one-dimensional villains I've ever read. It's like the author thought, you know how we make sure everyone knows villains are bad? Make him a pedophile and a rapist. It's just lazy writing, and he's not even the only rapist. Not only that, but the lack of adults in the world is apparent, and yet the author doesn't even try to explain it. The only adults present are other gods who are all bad, and we just have these teens running around with not even a mention of adults who would be involved somewhere in the lower structure of hunter society. So we have all these bad one-dimensional villains and then have the audacity for Zeus to be depicted as neutral good. Excuse me, ancient Greece nerds disagree on a lot And we love a good interpretation, but we all can agree that Zeus was shit.
Thank you so much for listening. And we will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.